Hi, this is Adada Gender. Tonight I wanted to talk to you about a concept called the looking glass self. In 1902, the sociologist Charles Cooley coined the term looking glass self. It's most simply how we think that we appear to others. This isn't to be confused with how we actually appear to others, but it's how we imagine that others view us. It posits that self-identity is a result of learning to see ourselves through what we perceive others' perceptions to be of us. Cooley described three main components to the looking glass self. We imagine how we appear to others. We react to what we feel their judgment to our appearance must be. And then we develop our sense of self based on the perceived judgments. This can wreak havoc with a transgender person's sense of self. Social interaction acts as a looking glass since oneself is built on perceived opinion of others. After a particularly unsettling conversation about my gender presentation, I took to the internet for some validation and received the feedback, "I think you pass as trans." As a self-described elder millennial, this was both befuddling and disheartening. Pass as trans? Whatever could that mean? Though there's a wide range of ways that binary trans men and women want to be perceived, the binary nature of our identity simplifies things for us. We're either the gender that we're assigned at birth or the gender that we transition to, not being one infers the other. Being binary transgender is a fragile state as we pick apart how we're treated for clues to how others perceive us. It's Cooley's first step writ large. As we imagine how we appear to other people, we feel a lack of affirmation of our gender as we perceive others perceiving what might possibly be the gender that we were assigned at birth. I can't really imagine trying to be perceived as non-binary. We imagine judgment. How does it make you feel to be born in a religious country? In a country where transgender women are painted as predators and where transgender men are basically invisible? Where openly living as trans is lauded as being brave? Where we know that our chances of self-harm is greater than the chance of harm from others if we hadn't transitioned? Who is judging you and how? Are you a devil, a sex object, an object of scorn, an outsider? Do you simply blend? Do you have passing privilege, white privilege, pretty privilege, skinny privilege, or none of these? What does your job, your schooling, your financial situations, and your gender say about you? Do you think I'm trans enough to be trans, or man enough to be man, or woman enough to be woman, or non-binary enough to be non-binary? On a deeply personal level, these answers can matter. They matter to me. I'm not going to be less trans if people don't see me as who I believe, who I feel, who I know myself to be. But I imagine what others think. As well-behaved, as agreeable, as quiet or kind or inoffensive as we make ourselves, we know that existing as a gender non-conforming person is an act of rebellion, and people will judge. We change our behavior based on what we feel other people think about us, even if untrue. I'm a bit off the map here. Cooley almost certainly was not considering gender non-conforming people when he published Human Nature and the Social Order in 1902. From people I've met and content I've consumed, I've deduced that gender atypical deal with others' perceptions in a variety of ways. Some try to blend and pass, some insist that only people with dysphoria can be trans and seek medical intervention, and some say forget society and forget normies and form small queer communities. Gender non-conforming folks haunt parades and closets across the world. Personally, I want my gender identity to be the least interesting thing about me. I want to be invisibly pretty and feminine. I want nobody to think, is that a boy or a girl? Usually I don't think about it, but sometimes I do. Shaken by the thought, and I'll adjust my posture, pitch my voice up a bit more, cross my legs. I take hormones that, in addition to acting as an antidepressant, have changed the shape of my body. I paid thousands of dollars for hair removal, and I will doubtless pay thousands more. I personally would do these things just for myself, but the added benefit of striving for a standard is tangible. I'm envious of those who seemingly rejected gender altogether. Envious of all the beautiful non-binary angels. But still, I have to shave and pluck and put on makeup and dresses and pitch my voice up, and though that makes me happy, though it feels more natural than the pantomime of maleness that I did for decades, it's informed by how I feel their judgment of my appearance must be. We develop our sense of self based on the perceived judgment of others, and that can cause serious feelings. How we feel revises how we think about ourselves. Usually it's invisible, but we actually interpret how we feel. We process how we feel. We internalize how we feel. Our feelings become part of who we are. Not everything that we think others think about us carries the same weight, though. We use selective application of the looking glass self. When you get misgendered, does it erode your sense of self? You can answer this too, cis people. I don't think we directly talk about this. The prevailing progressive opinion, and one that I agree with, is that you are the gender that you feel you are. That gatekeeping is harmful. That your gender identity is nobody's but your own. But this ignores the fact that many people are told who they are by others. We're told that we're smart or talented or beautiful or ignorant or petty or lazy, and some of those things stick to us and become part of who we are. Some people are told you are a boy, and so you're a boy regardless of how easy or hard being a boy is. I was told I was learning disabled. I was also told that I was gifted and talented. Every criticism fills me with shame. I armor up and I put on a brave face, and I'm rubber and you're glue, so ha! I don't know if it is where I live, if my presentation's good enough, or if I'm just oblivious, but I'm generally gendered correctly. I work hard for this. I dress conventionally feminine, wear a bit of makeup, but on the rare occasions I'm not gendered correctly, it makes me feel like less of a woman. For those who are not so lucky or oblivious, I feel very sorry that's the case. It can hurt and erode your confidence, and no amount of cheerleading with "you are valid" will change that. We talk about dysphoria and what's wrong with society, but it feels like nobody progressive talks about how others define our gender. And it can make us feel like feeling helpless is entirely our fault. It's not. So where do we go from here? We can simply accept Cooley's notion of the looking glass self and all that it entails. In the very every identity is valid world today, it's actually a bit validating to know that it's okay to know that other people's opinions do affect us. That dysphoria is not just an internal problem, but informed by society. We sometimes can become who others say we are, despite not liking it. A healthier approach to Cooley's looking glass self might be total rejection of the framework. We're not what people say we are, but it's our own truth that matters. There's appeal to this approach, an almost anarchist, an almost anarchist approach to gender and identity. Almost anarchist, an almost anarchist. And that's wordy as fuck. An almost anarchist approach to gender and identity, seeking out fellow juggernauts who share our notion about our identity and beauty and gender. It might be a lonely path and a delicate one, in all its harsh defiance. There's an appeal to it, to a certain punk spirit. The wonderful thing about the looking glass self is that it works both ways. We can reflect back to others and shape our visions of themselves. We can recognize that others' perceived opinions can matter and make ours known clearly. We can resist internalizing falsehoods about our identities and surrounding ourselves with others that see us how we know ourselves to be, while also creating the allies that we need. Transgender and other gender nonconforming people are at the center of the latest queer cultural movement, a vulnerable place where people that didn't even think about us now have opinions about our very existence. To use a militaristic euphemism, we're on the front lines of the culture wars. Cooley's looking glass self remains a useful model and a powerful tool for personal and cultural understanding, but it doesn't need to define you. There are people who will know you are beautiful and perfect, who will see your cracks and smile, who will see you for who you absolutely are. I just hope you will feel that they are seeing you the way that they truly see you. All right, thank you. This is my first video about really queer stuff. If you like this, hit me up on Instagram. I'll see if people enjoy this video. Leave some likes, hit the bell. I don't know how to do this. People are like, hit the bell over there, down there. I don't know. I'll see you around.